Well, Thursday, January 2nd, and we're back at it. I have to check the head today. Let me show you what I did. Welcome to 3D Accuracy, where I'll talk about 3D printing, 3D product design, and 3D injection and die-cast mold design. Last night, I repositioned the head. I put it in this area where it's on the flat surface so that I can see if it's still leaking any of the material out of the head. Because what I noticed is, if you can see up underneath there, a little difficult to see, but there's actually droplets of material getting ready to fall off the print heads underneath there. And that's why it looks so wet here where the little trap door is, because it's been dripping, dripping, dripping. So what I guess happened is that once they unplugged the materials from the material bays, the head started leaking up at the top, and it just siphoned all the materials that was in the tubing, and it just brought it all up here and dripped it all over the place and made a big mess. So what I'm going to do is push this whole assembly back to see if it's dripped during the night, because it's just a flat surface like this, and I want to see if there's any material up here, if it's still dripping or not. Now, when you move these, you can move these heads without any problems just by pushing on the frame. You never want to push on this aluminum piece that's on the back. You don't want to touch that. Don't ever mess with that, because there's a very high precision scale in there that the machine reads. It knows where it is on the build platform as it's moving. So you never want to do anything to bow this out of shape, because it'll get your settings all off. But it's safe if you push on the frame, and you see the whole thing moves pretty easily. You just don't need to force it, just push it on the frame, and then we'll see if we have any drips underneath there, if it's still dripping or not. Okay, doesn't look like it. All right, that's all the farther back I'll go. But you can see there's the little chute, the little trap door underneath there, and there's no leaking in this area, which means it didn't drip any material overnight. So that's good. What I'm going to do today now is to see if I can get these if I can get the electrical connections undone from these parts. I want to get these two boxes out of here, these metal boxes that the materials load into. I want to get these out of here so I can clean them up better, because you see all the material that's dripped on top of that. It's too difficult to clean that without getting it out of there. So but the electrical connections are what's holding me, so I'm going to see if I can very carefully disconnect that so that I can get this guy out in a position. If I could get it out here, if I could get it far enough to be out from under the edge of the machine, then I can clean it up more easily. But being down here on the floor trying to do stuff, reaching in underneath the machine, it's really a challenge. It's really a challenge, because it's not comfortable position to be in by any means, and then try to work to top it off. Okay, so let me see what I can do, and then I'll come back and show you after I've accomplished something. Well, I've done the best I can to try to get those electrical connections off of there, and I can't get them off without using excessive force, I think. And so I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to have to clean those boxes as best I can from the outside here and let it go at that, because if I cause damage, what it is inside of there's a switch that lets the machine know when there's a cartridge loaded with materials or support materials in the bay. So I certainly don't want to break that and have to replace the whole unit as a one-piece item, maybe. Who knows? I don't know, so I don't even want to go there. Okay, I got the support material boxes that hold the cartridges in place, those metal boxes, frames, whatever you want to call them. I got them as clean as I could. What I did is I moved them back as far as I could, disconnected all the wire clamps that held the wires in place. Then I was able to, on this other side here, on the side of the machine, once I had these back as far as they would go, then I rotated them this direction. I was able to pull them out of the machine. I couldn't get them all the way out where it would have been nice to work on them because the wires are too short. But I did get them into the opening here enough that it made it a little bit easier to get them clean. So now there's no materials on top of either one of them anymore, and they're all cleaned out in the inside. And I did not damage any of the wires by trying to force those. So I just decided to leave it like it is, good enough. Sometimes you got to do that. I don't want to risk breaking anything. Now, one thing I did notice is here on the back where this connector here goes into the cartridge, there's like a little cannula, a little needle on the other side that pierces into the cartridge, and then it sucks the material out. But I noticed these are loose. And I thought, I wonder if that's supposed to be like that. I checked the other one, it was the same way, and I reached in behind the other two model ones, and they were the same way also. So I'm assuming they should be a little loose to move so that they can pick up the little nozzle on the back end of the cartridge that slips into it. So maybe it's just one of those kind of things. So I'll leave them for now. If there's a problem, I can always come back and deal with it. So now what I have to do is move those all the way forward again and mount them, get them back up into position, and then clean up the back and get that other piece in with the sensors that read the chips. That fella there that's sitting on the floor, I'll get him in, and then I'm ready to close the front, pull the machine from the wall, and get the panels off the back and see what it looks like back there. I know there's some material in the back, in that corner in the back, so I got to get at that and remove it, clean it up. Okay, I got the support bays that hold the support material back up and in their position. You can't see it so well from here. That's okay, they're in there. I've already closed it up in front, moved the printer forward, took the back panel off of it so I can see what's going on back here and what do I have to do. And let me show you what I found. Okay, we're on the back side of where all the leaking was. You see down there is that bottom area that's cleaned up, but there's a little bit in the corner there. See, I couldn't see it from the other side. I knew I would be getting back in here, and so I'd take a better look. You see there's a lot of material there on that ledge, and so I may have to move some of these components so I can get in there and clean that up. Then I also noticed back in there, hard to see, but there's some materials there. You can see all the material, the bluish kind of color. I have to get all that out of there. So what I need to do is take this panel off, a couple of screws here, a couple of screws down there, and I should be able to remove this panel, and hopefully it'll give me access to all of that so I can clean it up. Of course, I don't know if that's the end of it. It looks like from this side it appears to be dry. Oh, nope, there's some material right there. You can see a little leakage right there. So I gotta get in there and see what I can find and get it cleaned out, and hopefully it didn't cause any damage and we'll be okay. So that's what I'm going to do next, take this panel off and see what it looks like in there. All right, I got that panel off. It actually creates like a duct for the odor filter that's in there. You see it underneath, you see it right there. So I took that assembly off, put it on the side so I wouldn't trip over it or kick it, and you can see, oh, there's a lot of material in there. All wet. Now this harness is attached in a couple of places. It's just zip tied together, but then it's attached, so I have to unhook these little attachment points, which are these guys right here. You see the ones with little balls on there? You can unhook those, and then I can get this harness up. At least I can move it, get underneath it, and sop up all that material. You see it running there. Same over here. So I've got to get in there, and I may have to move some of these components like I did on the other side, just so I can get in there and sop up all that goo. Ah, what a mess. There, you see, there it is down there, a little bit in the corner I have to get. I may get that first so it's not leaking out on the floor down there. What a mess, huh? Just get all that material all over the place. So at least I can get at it, and it's not over in this area, so that's good. It's limited from the center of the machine here over to this side. But there's a lot of stuff that may need to move. I may need to unhook all these pumps like I did on the other side, just so I can get at them and get underneath them and clean out all the material. I'll have to see. And somewhere in here may be the vacuum leak. This is the vacuum panel here on the left. That was one area I was told to check, that it may be a leak in there somewhere for the vacuum. So we'll see. First I'll get the material done so I can get that all cleaned up. It's already getting late in the afternoon, so I don't know how far I'm going to get or if I'm going to get it all. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you're ever in need of 3D product design, 3D injection mold design, 3D die-cast mold design, or 3D printed prototypes or production parts, please feel free to contact me. You can find contact information in the video description. I look forward to hearing from you and to being of service to you. Thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate it. See you on 3D Accuracy's next video.